Hi everyone, I'm Chong Shimin from Inti International University. In this video, I'm going to present my project. The title of my project is Study and Implementation of Mental Health Management System with Chatbot Approach by using Artificial Intelligence algorithm for students in Malaysia. First, I will begin with the problem statement. According to World Health Organization, suicide has become the second major reason of death among people aged between 15 to 29 years old. Suicide usually happens when individuals cannot deal with their insufferable mind state. To prevent this, the public need to raise awareness on their mental health. It is important for people to seek help when they have mental health issues. With the movement control order being implemented in Malaysia due to the COVID-19 pandemic, students are highly affected as online classes are replacing face-to-face classes. Students will gain huge stress if they cannot keep up with the learning progress through online classes. If students do not manage their stress properly, they may get depression or even commit suicide. Hence, this project is targeting at development of a system to help students in Malaysia to manage their mental health. Next, I will continue with the gap in current system. There are many mental health management systems available. The main gap of the current system is human psychologists cannot be replaced by chatbot when dealing with patients with mental disorder. It can only be used in supporting the psychologist or helping people with minor depression. It is essential to involve a psychologist or counselor if the user is facing mental health illness or having the potential of committing suicide. Visa and Robot are popular mental health systems which uses chatbot approach to identify users' problems and provide relative suggestions to deal with the issues. A reporter from BBC had tested Visa and Robot to find out their ability to detect issues such as child sexual abuse or eating disorder. Though both Visa and Robot are not able to detect the problem and cannot provide proper help in this kind of issues. The system developed for this project will overcome this gap through suggesting counseling centers or organizations in Malaysia to the users. This will allow the users to seek help from the professionals if they need help from them. The objectives of a project normally act as a criteria to measure whether the project is successfully completed. The three objectives for this project are to identify the concept of artificial intelligence and how it can be implemented to the mental health management system, to develop a chatbot in mental health management system with counseling techniques, and to test the mental health management system on the ability of managing users' mental health. Next, I will continue with the scope and limitation of the system. The system is developed with the AI algorithm. The algorithm is used in the chatbot to imitate a human counselor to counsel the students. The system will recommend counseling organizations in Malaysia such as befrienders to users so that they can receive face-to-face therapy with the professionals. The limitation for the system is it can only be accessed through website as the chatbot will be integrated to website. Since the conversation between patients and counselors or psychologists is always private and confidential, The knowledge base of the chatbot will be designed based on the 9-item patient health questionnaire, which is widely used to determine the depression level of patients. The target audience of this project are students in Malaysia, as there is no mental health management system designed for students in Malaysia. In addition, students seldom seek for help from school counselors when they are distressed. This is because in Malaysia, the number of counselors within the counseling department is not enough to deal with the number of students in schools. Therefore, the system will be serving as a platform for students to confide their thoughts and reduce their feeling in distress. By using this system, students' mental health will be assessed through PHQ-9 questionnaire. Counseling techniques will be used in developing the chatbot. Students will receive guidance to solve their problem they are facing. It will also prevent the students from committing suicide by encouraging the students to seek help from counseling centers or organizations recommended by the system. The system development methodology used in this project is the prototyping model. As shown in the slide, the prototyping model consists 6 stages that are initial analysis, define objectives, specify prototype, construct prototype, evaluate prototype, and completion of prototype. The initial analysis is performed at the beginning of the project life cycle. In this stage, the requirements of users are collected through fact-finding techniques. An online questionnaire is distributed to the students who are studying in Malaysia to find out the requirements of users towards the system. If the initial analysis has been performed, the objectives of the project can be defined according to the result of the analysis. Once the objectives have been defined, the cycle of developing prototype begins. The prototype of the system is specified based on the objectives and analysis. The prototype will be constructed with the specified features and tested with users. The prototype is evaluated based on the user's opinion. The problems or errors occur in the prototype are identified in the evaluate prototype phase. Then, the next iteration begins. The prototype in the next iteration is specified according to the result of evaluation. The requirements of users can be achieved by testing the prototype with users iteratively. So, the development of the system completes when the users are satisfied with the prototype. The AI algorithm used in developing the system is decision tree algorithm. The decision tree algorithm is generated by using C4.5 algorithm. C4.5 algorithm is an algorithm which uses split information and gain ratio as splitting criteria to build the decision tree. The splitting criteria allows the algorithm to deal with categorical and numeric values. Besides, the decision tree generated is pruned and to reduce the complexity and error. The decision tree of the system is trained and built using the statistics of students' PHQ-9 tests from online resource. PyCharm is an IDE which is used to generate the decision tree in Python programming language. Once the decision tree is generated, the chatbot can be developed in the Microsoft Visual Studio. With the use of Microsoft Bot framework, the chatbot can be developed with the functions and classes that are contained within the library of the framework. In addition, The chatbot can be easily integrated to the website with a bot connector which uses REST API and JSON to act as a bridge between the chatbot and users to communicate within the channel accessible within Microsoft Bot Framework. Before integrating the chatbot to the website, the chatbot is tested within Bot Framework emulator to ensure the chatbot performs without error. Next, let's proceed with the algorithm and demonstration of the system. As decision tree algorithm is used in developing the chatbot contains several waterfall dialogues that are related to each other. The chatbot consists of main dialogue, depression test dialogue, study stress suggestions dialogue, suggestions counseling dialogue, and suggestions dialogue. Each of the dialogues serves its own purpose to achieve the objective of helping students in Malaysia to manage their mental health. In this slide, the overview of the design for the chatbot is shown. Each dialogue is triggered based on the user input from the previous dialogues. Control structures are used within the dialogues to navigate the conversation with user. The chatbot starts the conversation with main dialogue. In the main dialogue, the chatbot will prompt for the user for their name. The name entered will be stored in the system for the chatbot to address the user in the following conversation. Next, the chatbot will ask users if they are a student. The user's reply will be used to determine the flow of the dialogue. Next, the chatbot continues with depression test dialogue. The depression test dialog is used to determine the user's mental health. The result of the depression test will be the criteria to determine the next dialog. If the result of the depression test shows that users have no depression, the conversation will be continued with study stress suggestion dialog or dialogues that provide counseling to users. If the result of the depression test shows that users is having depression, the conversation will be continued with the suggestion dialogue. If the user stated that they are students in the main dialogue, the chatbot will continue the conversation with study stress suggestions dialogue. Based on the results in the online questionnaire conducted to the target audience, study stress is the most popular problem that is being faced by the students in Malaysia. Therefore, in this dialogue, the chatbot will be providing several suggestions in relieving the study stress faced by the students. The concept of cognitive behavioral therapy is implemented in designing the suggestions counseling dialogue. Within this dialogue, the chatbot will give guidance to users for solving the problem they are facing. By asking the problem the user is facing, the chatbot guides the user with helping them to identify the positive and negative impact of the solution of the problem the user is going to perform. Through asking the questions, the users can find out the best solution of their problem by themselves. The chatbot will show the reply from the users regarding their problem. The users can review their reply and think carefully if they are trying to avoid the problem through their solution. If the users reply that they are not avoiding the problem, the chatbot will reply messages that complement the users. In the suggestions dialog, the chatbot will give the suggestion of counseling center. In this part, users can choose if they want to reveal the state they are living in. If they refuse to tell the chatbot the state they are living in, the chatbot will give the suggestion of counseling center which is available in all states in Malaysia. If the users are willing to tell the chatbot the state they are living in, the chatbot will proceed with asking the user's state. Based on the reply from the users, the chatbot will show the information of the counseling center available at the state chosen by the users. Just like every system, this system also has some strengths and weaknesses. I will start with the strength of the system. First, the chatbot can perform the depression test with users. By performing the depression test, users can be aware of their mental health and seek for help if they are having the symptoms of depression. Suggestions and some counseling techniques is added in the dialog of chatbot to help users. By having these features, the chatbot can help users to feel better and relieved. Buttons are added within the dialogues to guide users in the conversation. With the use of buttons, users can react with the chatbot easily. Various elements such as video, GIFs, and images are added to the chatbot. These elements are added to attract the users and let them feel relaxed during the conversation. Then I continue with the weaknesses of this system. Due to the limitation of the resources and the constraints of MCO, the system cannot be developed with the support of a counselor or psychologist. The chatbot is not developed with language understanding feature as this feature requires the knowledge from the professionals. In real-life situation, the counselor must have empathy towards their patients, but it's impossible for the chatbot to understand the user's emotion and have empathy as the output of the chatbot is determined by its knowledge base. So, the chatbot cannot perform actual counseling like the professionals. Due to the security concern, the conversation between the users is not stored in the database. The users cannot view the history of the conversation. The conversation is refreshed every time when the users use the system. Although there are several weaknesses exist in the system, they can be resolved in the future development of the project. With the sufficient resources in the future, the chatbot can be implemented with Azure Connective Service language understanding. LUIS can be developed with the support of the psychologist to provide a better counseling experience to users based on the knowledge of the psychologist. A chatbot cannot always understand the human emotion even with the integration of natural language processing. Therefore, the chatbot should be able to pass the conversation to counselors or psychologists when the users request to chat with them or the chatbot encounters a situation it cannot handle. Furthermore, Q&A maker service from Microsoft Bot Framework can also be employed to the chatbot to provide information of various types of mental illness and the measures that can be done to avoid getting the mental illness to the users. Users can receive counseling from counselors or psychologists through the system by integrating video conferencing feature. With this feature, counselor or psychologist can observe the changes of users' facial expressions while communicating with the users. From the observation, the counselors and psychologists can determine users' mental health condition better. For the users, they can receive a proper therapy and they can realize their problem through the counselors or psychologist's guidance, as well as saving the time and cost to travel to the counseling center. Last but not least, the chatbot can be connected to various social media platforms like Facebook Messenger, Line, WeChat, or Skype in the future. People can access the chatbot through their social media accounts. This will attract more users to use the system. In conclusion, although several weaknesses existed in the system, the objectives of the project are achieved. This concludes the process of the project development. At the end of this video, I would like to thank everyone for listening to my presentation, and I hope that everyone remains safe and healthy at all times. Thank you very much.